Hi, this is Courtney on behalf of papermaniac.com. Thanks for stopping by for another one of my tutorial videos on distressing. Today we're going to do a quick little wall hanging project, and while you're doing the project you're going to learn how to do several techniques on how to distress grunge board and grunge paper. So let's get started. I cut out the Tim Holtz Alterations die Baroque, and I cut that out of just a solid sheet of grunge board, and this one happened to be embossed with a harlequin design. So we're going to start with that, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a mushroom Adirondack paint dauber, and I'm just going to paint the entire thing. So with these, you want to give them a little shake and then just press. They're made to be daubers, not like paintbrushes. I'm just going to daub over this entire surface and give it a nice good coat. If you're worried about putting your fingers in the paint, you could always stick a glue dot on the back so that it doesn't move around on you, but I like to get my hands a little messy. Okay, so that's completely covered with the mushroom, and I'm just going to move that aside and let that dry. If you're in a hurry, you can always heat dry Adirondack paints, or really any acrylic paint. You can heat dry them if you want to, but we're just going to set that aside and do the rest of these. Okay, let's start with the crown next. I'm going to use Adirondack paint dauber, and this one is Stream. I love this color. And the same thing, give it a little squeeze. The newer bottles of the paint daubers actually squeeze a lot easier. I have some of the older ones, so you have to press a little harder. See, glue dot would come in handy. That's okay. We always have soap and water, right? Okay, that's completely covered. Again, I'm just starting by getting my base coats down of my color that I want on every piece. Okay, the wings I'm going to cover on the right sides. You want to cover the smooth side of the grunge paper, and that's what all these thinner pieces are cut out of, just grunge paper. Just like grunge board, but it's thinner. You can die cut it a lot easier, like in your Cuttlebug or your Big Shots, things like that. What I'm going to do with these, I'm going to set them up to the side. I hope you can still see that. Move those out of the way. And I'm going to be covering these with Distress Crackle Paint. This stuff is so neat. I'm going to be using Picket Fence, which is just white. And it looks a little plain at first, but you just wait till later and see what we do with it. So it's going to come out, and it's kind of goopy. You like the goopy. Keep the goopiness. Okay, and you're just going to cover the entire surface with a medium to thick layer. And this, I would highly recommend sticking a glue dot underneath, because this gets sticky. You're going to watch me. I'm probably going to mess up a couple times. And I'm just going to slide it out of the way. And do the same for this one. Now, the Distress Crackle paints can only be heat dried once they've started to crack. If you try and heat dry them as soon as you paint them, it's not going to work. You're not going to get that cool cracking effect. Okay, and next I'm going to do the top of the heart. And that I'm going to do a really cool, I love this. What I did in this mini mister is I mixed water, Perfect Pearls, and I think I used pewter, Perfect Pearls, and then I used a whole dropper full of the Rusty Hinge re-inker. So give that a little shake, shake it all up, and then just give it a good spritz. I want to cover the whole thing. Now, if you want just a light coverage, you can wipe this off with a paper towel, and you'll have just like a tint on your grunge board. But I really want this to be nice and orange, so I'm going to get my heat tool and dry this up. Okay. As you can see, you get a really deep orange color from that Rusty Hinge, but you also get this awesome shimmer from the Perfect Pearls. And because the Perfect Pearls have a built-in binder, you don't have to seal this. Because they were mixed with that water, any type of moisture will seal the Perfect Pearl. So they're done. It's not coming off. Okay, set that aside. Oh no, I want to do one more to this. I'm going to use the Distress Crackle paint on top of this, but this time I'm going to use Rock Candy. Rock Candy is completely clear, so it's going to do the same thing that the wings are doing, but it's going to be completely clear, so you'll be able to see that orange and that pewter coming through. Okay, so same thing, goop it up, and cover the whole thing. It's going to be a little bit harder, all these little pieces. You can't mess this up. I mean, you goop it on there, move it to the side, and let it sit. You don't have to be pretty with this, so just what I like. Set that to the side. Okay, next we're going to do the bottom heart layer, and for this I'm going to do what Tim calls a direct to grunge. So I'm just going to take black soot distressing, take the pad itself, and just wipe it right onto the grunge board without twisting my mat too much. If you have problems with your mat twisting while you're working, you can always like stick some removable adhesive underneath, or permanent adhesive, I guess. Just something sticking underneath, but I don't know. I like the challenge, I guess, of working with a twisty mat. Okay, so black soot. Direct to grunge, you get a really deep color. If you were to take a blending tool and try and ink that dark, it would take you a really long time. So just take the pad straight to the grunge board and you get a really deep color really fast. I'm gonna set that aside to dry too. Okay, once all this dries, I'll be back to finish the project.